Welcome to the channel. My name's Damien. It's a lovely sunny summer day. It's 19 degrees, which is 64 Fahrenheit. I'm just sat in the car park ready to get going on this walk. My lunch is packed. All my equipment is packed. I've got the feeling that it's going to be a good day. I'm excited to do this walk. On the drive up, the views are stunning, and I'm sat looking at everything that we're about to explore. I'm really excited. I can't wait. It's going to be a good one, I'm sure. The walk that we're going to be doing today is a Blencathra and Blease Fell. My apologies if I have pronounced that badly. The total route length is 12.4 kilometers, which is 7.7 miles. In the end, I ended up walking 13.4 kilometers and which is 8.32 miles. I took one or two wrong turns along the way, but luckily not too many, and none of them were catastrophic. But it did remind me to keep an eye on the app route that I was following. So just in case you're curious, the app that I was using was called All Trails. When I read the reviews, a lot of people advised to do the route in reverse. So I took the advice and then I followed the route. So as you can see, there was lots of nice little streams to start with. There was a little bit of an elevation here, but I wasn't ready for what came next. I was quite stunned. As you can see from the footage here, it just doesn't do justice to how big of a drop it was. I couldn't believe it. I was in shock at this point to see such a big drop. So I've not really got the best head for heights, and it was a bit of a shock to have to scramble down that. But the good news is there's some amazing views this way. I honestly thought I took the wrong route. I know for most people doing walks that little drop off on the rocks, it wouldn't have been that much, but for me it was a big deal, and I'm glad that I accomplished it, and it filled me with confidence going forward, because I knew there could be potentially worse parts than that, but I thought if I can do that bit, then I'll be alright for the rest of the day. From this point onwards, it all changed and we started to climb sharply. It tested my fitness. My fitness is quite good. I do a lot of bike riding and swimming, but it was definitely steep. There was no doubt that it was steep, but it led to the best bits. What's coming up now blew my head off with how nice it was. I just wasn't expecting it to be as good as it was. So it was time to pull the drone out, and whoa, it made me realise that we'd only just begun. We was about 2.5 hours from memory into it at this point, and I looked at the footage and I realised there was a long way to go to the top of this mountain. A long way. I also realised that I was hungry as well, very hungry. As the camera pans up now, we get to see Sharp Edge for the very first time in the video. I didn't realise it at the time when I was climbing the mountain that somebody had the misfortune of falling off Sharp Edge on just a couple of days before I did the walk. Okay, so I sat down, I had it was sourdough, chicken, beetroot and salad, and I brought 2 litres of water as well, which I periodically drank throughout the day. And I just sat down and I just took in the views, which are absolutely spectacular. And it just got me thinking, who built the path originally up this waterfall, and how did they do it? Like, obviously the stone was probably local, but it must have been quite a feat to arrange all the stonework and all tools and manpower and engineering. It's quite in the wilderness to have built this set of steps. When you're doing an activity physically in real life, and then you film it and you watch it back on video, it's hard to give a true perspective of how something actually was on that day. So what I wanted to do was give you the perspective of me actually walking up the steps, and I've obviously fast forwarded it a little bit at ×5 speed, but I also got the drone out and I wanted to show you what it was like from another's perspective, so you could get another angle of just how beautiful and tranquil at the same time this place was. So I got the drone out, and obviously I've been practicing flying the drone. The first couple of times I was rubbish, so I've gone out, and I'm not saying that I'm perfect, but I tried my best. And as I went up, I thought, you know, considering all things, that I've only flown a drone a couple of times, that I did quite well on this one. And it was the first time, because obviously when I was flying the drone I was still at the bottom, and I could see on my screen the lake that came into view, and it got me really excited to go up and see this lake, because even from just the view on the drone, it looked crystal clear. And when I got there, the water, you could just see straight through it, crystal clear. The sun was reflecting off it. Like I was saying, there was no sound, and there was one or two people that there, but everybody was in silence. It was just, all you could hear was running water and just complete silence. And because of all the walls surrounding the lake, it was like an echo chamber. So there was sheep and lambs that were up the side of it, and if one of them barred, then you could hear it, and it just echoed around. It was really nice. I sat down, and I think I had another sandwich here. I was just tempted to go in for a swim, but I couldn't go in for a swim. I just didn't have time. Because like I said, it was, by the time I stopped, flown the drone and done all the other stuff, it was going to be a long day. So I started my climb up the hill, and it was really steep. There's no doubt about it. It was really steep. So I kept looking back down. You can see it. I'm sat down. I'm having a rest. I was absolutely exhausted, but exhilarated at the same time. It felt like amazing exercise, but you can see the level of the gradient going up. So this is where I deviated slightly from the path, but it wasn't too bad, because you weren't meant to go up the steep part. There was a slight detour where it wasn't as steep, but I went up there, and I got to the top, and what I did was I had to pull the drone out, because it was the perfect place for it. And you can see from the footage here, it gives you a real perspective of all the different walks and routes and the places that I came. It looks surreal. It looked like something almost like out of like computer game or an animation or something like that. Like to see all the lakes and the valleys and the mountains and the clouds and the sunshine, and like there were just nice people up there as well. Like everybody you spoke to said hello, and I spoke to a guy at the top of the mountain. He was just dead nice, and he said how he'd moved from down south to live up by lakes. When I did get to the top, what happened was it was cold. It was about 7 o'clock at night by this stage, and what I did was I had to put my coat on, because it was just like the temperature had dropped so much, and because of the elevation, I think it's like 2,800 feet or close to it, so you were quite high up. It was windy, and it made my eyes water, and it made my nose run. And then I walked down this path, and I got the drone out again for, I think it's the final time here, and I just wanted to show you the route that we were walking down to go back home. And yeah, it was magnificent. At this point, I had one eye on the time, and I had to hurry up a little bit, because on the app it still said like it was about 2.5 hours, 2 hours 40 minutes that I still had to walk. So I knew I was still a long way from home. And sometimes when you're walking down hills, the elevation drop can be quite hard on your knees. So I just wanted to give myself enough time, and I didn't want to do it so it went dark and I was still doing the walk. The one thing that I did realize was how dangerous this place could be if you weren't prepared. Obviously I brought the app to navigate on, but I also had like a physical map in my bag and a compass. I had my food, I had my water, I had a coat, and those were just the basics. Probably really I should have had a first aid kit as well, which I think I'm going to do for next time. But anyway, as you're looking, as you can see as I'm flying this drone, it was just an amazing place. Like I was saying earlier in the video, it just recharged me. It just made me feel really good, and it made me, I had that feeling of accomplishment, because it was physically challenging to do it. I knew that I'd already done the absolute worst bit by getting up there in the first place, and it just, you know, when you do exercise and it releases endorphins where you feel good, I was definitely on a natural high doing it, and with the views it just amplified everything. So what I wanted to do here was just give you a really good view from the top, because obviously that's the main reason why I climbed this place, to get the view from the top. And I think with the drone, it just gives you a perspective that you don't normally get, that's impossible to get from when you stood on the ground. As you can see, there's 2 people that were wild camping at the very top, so they were going to be there for the night. And when it went dark, as it was going dark and I was getting back to the car, I thought, it's quite a lonely place up there. I'd like to do wild camping, but I need to build into that, like as well with Sharp Edge. Like, that's not something that I could tackle straight away. As I was walking up the hill, I do have vertigo, and it's not like I'm just afraid of heights, because I am afraid of heights, but it almost felt, I stood there and it felt like, I was tumbling down. It made me feel a little bit dizzy. Hopefully walks like this will just help me overcome that. And I would like to do Sharp Edge and walk over it, and I watched a video on YouTube when I got back of somebody doing it, but it is dangerous. There's no way of saying that it isn't dangerous, and you're definitely taking a risk, because if you slip or you fall, or just one wrong step, and it's game over. So I'm not sure whether I'm ready to take that risk just yet, but I think maybe one day I will at least try it just once. But I was happy and content with the route that I took. It was nice. It was just the right thing for me. The hardest part was like at the start, where I said I think it was about an hour into it, where I had to go down those rocks at the beginning. That was quite a dangerous thing to do. I had to hold on and grip with both hands and feet, but it was doable, there was no doubt. So anyway, as you can see, we're walking back down, and I just wanted to give you a perspective of what it was like as I slowly went down the descent. There was people, as you can see here, walking dogs going up. It was quite rocky, quite hard ground. Like I was saying, it's hard on your knees as you're going down. So the next day, after doing such a long walk, and I trained my legs 4 times as well that week, so I definitely felt stiff the next day on one of my knees, which I'm fully recovered from now. As you can see, there's some security guards here just checking my ID before I left, and this is the last little stream before I headed back close to the car park. It's losing light here. I think it was about 9 o'clock. Right, so we made it back in the car park. Not going to lie to you, very, very long day, 7 hours in total, just shy of 7 hours it took me to do that walk. And as you can tell, I'm wearing my coat, because when we got to the top bit, I think it was about 7 o'clock when I got to the summit, it started to get a bit windy and a bit cold. I almost wished I brought a pair of gloves, but I didn't. I'll know for next time. Anyway, I just wanted to say I really appreciate you watching. If you consider, if you liked it, if you consider subscribing, dropping us a comment, maybe liking the video. With the channel being so new, having so few subscribers, it would really, really help me out. And like I said, I just really appreciate you watching, and I'll see you again soon. Take care.